Some people don't associate Germany with beaches, and some don't know that Germany has a coastline and numerous islands. Let's take a closer look at Germany's coastal region and islands.
Welcome to YD. Why do Germans do things the way they do?
Germany has around 1,200 kilometers of coastline. Of the 16 federal states, only 3 are located at the coast. Lower Saxony is on the North Sea coast, Mecklenburg-Western Pomerania is on the Baltic Sea coast, and Schleswig-Holstein is between the North Sea and the Baltic Sea and has a coastline on both sides. Like many coastal regions, this one has been and continues to be shaped by seafaring and fishing. In addition to the large ports such as Hamburg and Bremerhaven, there are dozens of smaller ones, some of which were once very important. Cuxhaven, for example, is located just below Hamburg on the Elbe River, directly on the North Sea. Lübeck was perhaps the most important city in the Hanseatic League in the Middle Ages, while Kiel is famous for its Kiel Week, and then there are Wismar and Rostock. The Hanseatic League was a community of merchants from independent cities that dominated trade from the Baltic Sea and the Rus via Scandinavia with furs and fish to close weavers in the Netherlands and England for a long time. The Hanseatic League also extended far inland as here to the cities of Soest, Dortmund and Hamm. In addition, there are and were dozens of smaller fishing ports and ferry terminals on the coast connecting the mainland with the islands. A special feature of the North Sea is the Wadden Sea. As you can clearly see here, the East Frisian Islands are part of the Wadden Sea, some of which can even be reached on foot at low tides. Wadden Sea means that in this area the water changes from high to low tide or from flood to ebb every 6 hours. At low tides the water recedes from the coast and the mudflats remain, the muddy seabed. At high tides the water returns to the beach. Mudflat walks are offered for tourists by expert mudflat guides who are familiar with the area. Anyone who wants to do this alone and is unfamiliar with the area can quickly find themselves in mortal danger if the water suddenly cuts off the way back. The Wadden Sea provides a rich source of food in form of fish, crabs and mussels. To ensure that ships can call at ports smoothly today, there are artificial channels in addition to natural tidal creeks, what means natural deeper waterways similar to a river in the Wadden Sea, which also meander naturally. For example, the island of Sylt cannot be reached by ferry at low tides because the natural tidal channel carries too little water, while the neighboring island of Norderney has an artificial fairway. So even today, life on the North Sea and the islands there is still shaped by the ebb and flow of the tides. Even in Hamburg upstream on the Elbe, the tides have a major influence on the water level in the harbor. Speaking of islands, in the North Sea, from west to east, we have the following inhabited German islands. Borkum with 4,325 inhabitants, Memmert with a bird observatory, Just with 1,136, Norderney with 5,343, Baltrum with 471, Langeoog with 1,358, Spiekeroog with 650, and Wangerooge with 1,026 inhabitants. There are also a few uninhabited islands. 2 islands in the region have even disappeared, Band and Buis. With the rise of the bathing movement in the 19th century, the islands became more popular with tourists and bathers, and tourism is now one of the most important sources of income for all German islands. For nature conservation reasons, combusting engine cars are often not even allowed on the islands, and rubbish collection is carried out by horse-drawn carts. Because many schools from the central and southern federal states like to take their pupils on school trips to the islands, there is a school camp on almost every island and sometimes also youth hostels. The islands of Neuwerk, which belongs to the city of Hamburg, has a school camp with 54 beds for its 36 inhabitants in 13 houses, and of course its own voluntary fire brigade with 9 members who look after the welfare of around 120,000 tourists a year. Life on the coast can sometimes be dangerous, as storm surges occur time and again when the wind drives the water towards the coast as the tide rises. A catastrophic flood hit Hamburg and the German North Sea coast in February 1962. The first recorded storm surge was the Marcellus flood on 16th January 1219, which claimed over 36,000 lives on the coast. The second Marcellus flood, always named after St. Marcellus Day on 16 January, occurred in 1362. It was also known as the Grote Mandrenke, meaning the Great Drowning. Tens of thousands are said to have drowned, and 100,000 hectares, or 1,000 square kilometers, or almost 390 square miles, of land were lost. The legendary Rungholt, then the largest trading center in the north, was destroyed, and the North Frisian Islands, as we know them today, were created. From the south, these are Nordstrand, which has been a peninsula since 1987 with 2,257 inhabitants, Pellworm, which actually lies 1 meter below sea level with 1,228 inhabitants, Amrum with 2,296, Föhr with 8,484, and Sylt with 18,300 inhabitants, which is known for its many wealthy guests and the most famous nudist beaches. Sylt even has a railway station, which is also served by car trains, so there's plenty of car traffic on Sylt. The influx of very wealthy people who do not live there permanently has caused property prices to rise enormously and daily life outside the tourist season to come to a virtual standstill. In the North Frisian Islands, there are also Halligen, small islands without dikes, where people live on Warften mounds, which are artificial hills. These are located around Pellworm. 7 of the 10 Halligen are inhabited. Germany's only offshore island is Helgoland, with a population of 1,392. It is almost 50 kilometers away from the German mainland. It has only belonged to Germany since 1819 and was exchanged by the British for the island of Zanzibar on 1st July 1890. Tourism is currently the most important source of income on Helgoland. In addition, naval helicopters are stationed there as part of SAR, as well as Germany's most powerful rescue tug, the Nordic, and the DGZRS largest rescue cruiser, the Hermann Marwede. When we travel through the Kiel Canal, through Schleswig-Holstein, or around Denmark, we enter the Baltic Sea. The tides in the Baltic Sea are not as strong as those in the North Sea. In the Baltic Sea, the water level only changes up to 15 centimeters, so there's no mudflats here. The strait between Denmark and Sweden does not allow for as much water exchange as during the tides in the North Sea. There are more German islands in the Baltic Sea, including the 3 largest German islands. The first island we reach after entering the Baltic Sea is Fehmarn, which is about twice the size of Sylt with around 13,200 inhabitants and also belongs to Schleswig-Holstein. Höhl, with 2,507 inhabitants, is located directly in front of Wismar in the Wismar Bay, adjacent to the uninhabited and protected island of Langenwerder. The largest German island is Rügen, which is over 50 kilometers long and over 40 kilometers wide and has a population of 64,376. The largest town is Bergen auf Rügen, with just under 13,500 inhabitants. The largest seaside resort is Binz, and another well-known town is Sassnitz. And of course, there are also youth hostels on Rügen, 3 in fact. Neighboring islands include Hiddensee with just under 1,000 inhabitants and the small island of Riems, which is home to a laboratory for research into animal diseases and is therefore largely restricted access. The second largest German island, twice the size of Fehmarn and located in the Far East, is Usedom with 76,500 inhabitants. The island is divided between Germany and Poland. The main town with almost 39,000 inhabitants is Świnoujście in Poland, formerly known as Swinemünde in German. What both seas have in common are the often cold winds, which can make it uncomfortably chilly on the beach. This is why the Strandkorb beach chair was invented at the end of the 19th century to provide wind-protected seating. The difference lies in the shape. The North Sea beach chair is more angular, while the Baltic Sea beach chair has slight curves. Anyone interested in seafaring, fishing, beaches, and the sea is welcome guest or employee at the German coast. Whether at sea or on land, new recruits are always wanted. Why not come and visit us? Remarks, addition, and comments in the comments. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next video.
I never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes.